Hello and welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast, the no bullshit podcast for the outdoor enthusiasts. If you're into hunting, fishing, fine wines and even finer foods, you've come to the right place. So pull up a chair. Hello and welcome back to the Irish Hunting Podcast. On this week's episode number 70, we've gone stateside. We've got Dave Bavero on from the Global Retrievers podcasts straight out of Texas in the United States. He's going to be talking all things retrievers. He's going to give us a bit of a insight into what it's like working with some retrievers over in the States, as well as what's involved, and he's going to be talking about some hunting trips he's done in Ireland and give us a bit of an insight into hunting in the States. So stay tuned, this is a good one. I think you're going to enjoy this. Anthony Grogan, how are you getting on, man?
Brady McGuire, what's happening?
That's your lad, living the fucking dream, man. Living the dream, sitting in here having an owl Modry. I think I spoke about it on the last podcast.
Good man. You're enjoying them, El Madris?
I'm liking them, man. I don't know what it is about them. They're just nice. They're not strong. They're just a nice drink of a hot day. If you could get a fucking hot day, that is.
No, absolutely. And look at very apt considering Madra is the Irish for dog, and we'll be talking all things dog a little bit later. That's the Spanish version. Madri. It is. Yeah, we've had a few of them over the last while, and it's better than that piss water we were drinking the other night.
There's actually still 2 bottles of it here looking at me across the desk.
I thought you were going to farm them out to Ross when he come over, no?
Even he was thinking on that.
Ross, I'm only joking, man. There's finer stuff there reserved for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to come clean. I got my information wrong in our last podcast.
Oh, he wasn't long about. He wasn't. And I did.
Yeah.
I did say to him, it wasn't my end. It was McGuire.
Yeah,
it was McGuire.
I do have to throw an odd grenade in there and just see what happens. So
keep him honest. Keep him honest.
Yeah. So apparently he didn't actually say to me that he had come second. He done fairly well anyway. He didn't come second, but he wasn't too bad. I believe he was shooting pretty good.
No, I tell you, between I was just chatting between First and himself. I think now I'll have to go back, but he was in fourth. In around that, but there's only like a shot or two between first down to fourth. Then there's quite a big gap, and there's the rest of us, you know. So
yeah. I don't know where I would have even been. There would have been another bit of a gap, but then there would have been me. I can't say fuck off.
It was all about the bit of sport. Come here to me. What's been happening? I know you're winding up to a big week in the sun. You fucker, you.
Yeah, I don't know how much sun it'll be. We're only going to the west of Ireland, but yeah.
Oh, you're going to west of Ireland, are you?
Yeah. No, we're not going foreign, man. We're just.
I thought you were going foreign.
No.
You may much like the rest of us, so
exactly, man. We're heading to fucking Belmullet in Mayo, so good old
sunny. So Costa del Belmullet. I tell you what, you want to bring your sun. You want to bring your sun hat out there.
You want your sun hat and your waterproof trousers. I'd say you wouldn't know what it's going to be. But anyway, sure. Look at that. We'll see.
If all else fails, you pick up an old extra foot and a couple of rows of turf or something out there.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't wait for that. No, fucking fairness. What's the story with you, man? What's been going on?
What's been going on? I'm down west actually, so I'm like that in between the share. Weather has been pretty. I think we've been kind of the poor weather. We've got the slightly better bit of it, if that makes fucking sense. Yeah. So we got a little bit of sunshine within the rain and the clouds, but it's been an Irish summer.
Busy.
It's been busy enough. Look, work and shit, and then as I was probably saying off air, my little one is teething at the minute, so we have my niece is down for the week or a week and a half, 2 weeks, and she's going home on Sunday. But I'm sleeping on the couch, man, because the baby's teething, and myself and Avril are sleeping out in the sitting room on the couch, and to let the kids have the comfortable bed so that the baby's not waking them, and so on. So anyway, look, yeah, I'm living the dream, man. Is what I'm fucking trying to say there
Yeah,
in a nutshell.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. There was no doubt in my mind. There was no fucking doubt in my mind, man.
no, so I get a large quantity of alcohol into me pretty quickly, and
Yep.
hope that takes me halfway through the night, and then you wake up into hers, and try and muddle through it as best as you can.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
that, that's my life, man. That's my life. But
Could be worse.
I chose it. I did it. So
Absolutely, man. You done the deed, yeah. Fucking.
I
So
ain't complaining.
what's been going on in the club? How you busy? What way is with things at the minute?
Yeah, we have so the breeding program has been kind of going with. We have in the super pen now. We've as one section of it cordoned off, as you know.
Mhm.
We have almost 80 poults in there of our own self reared. We have another 78 or 79 um chicks hatched out. With possibly another 30 to 40, depending on how their success. We've had varying level of success. We did kind of a probably below 50% average across the board this year, which is it's good considering it's only our kind of first proper year. As last year was our kind of dipping the toes in. Um, so we know what we did wrong this year. We didn't have the right percentage of cocks to hens to start with, so some of the eggs were unfertilized at the start. That gave us a kind of a bad start. And and then you're getting late in the day then, and we managed, as I said, to get a couple of eggs from um one of the kind listeners on the podcast, Mr. Denny. So they've been laid down, and we're hoping that they'll be hatching out over the next couple of days. So and then we have another 80 cock poults arriving on Saturday morning.
Deadly. Mhm.
So they're coming. Ed McAvoy is delivering them down from Portlaoise, and Ed gives a lovely bird. So yeah, they're everything's ready for them to come down. We've kale grown in one of the pens, and it's about a foot high now at the minute. Um, so we're keeping that just to bring it on a little bit more, and then we'll keep all these in one half of the pen, and then we'll start to release them into the different pens then as they get older and as the kale comes on there a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's going well, man. It's going. Look, the everything is going in the right direction. We've we've uh, we've done another little bit this year, as you probably know, with the clay competition and the bit of fundraising, which is important, and then obviously the new pens. So um, memberships are all paid up, and everyone's ready to rock and roll now for the new season, and it can't come quick enough.
Savage, man. That's class. That's absolutely brilliant. Jesus Christ, that's brilliant, man.
Over to your look. You've a lot more going on in your club. What's been happening over there?
Yeah, man, it's been great. Now, in fairness, it's kind of I kind of put the hand up for the past couple of months, man. I haven't really been. People have said it on the podcast and probably gotten it from me. I just haven't had time to do much hunting wise or anything related to guns. Have been taken out in a while, but kind of got the kick up the arse that I needed. Probably going back 2 weeks ago was kind of getting the pen ready and kind of, the club is really getting up off the ground now. And so we actually went out for the first time in, I'd say, 3 months, man. I got the rifle out the other night and we headed up to the club grounds, myself and Big Mac and Murph. And we headed off over on Murph's land and just decided, fuck it. One night says we'll head out after a fox. We'd seen Murphy had seen a few around there when he was doing a bit of mowing and bailing and stuff. So headed off with the rifle, and it was a lovely night. Now it was kind of dead calm and warm. Headed off out anyway, and yeah, saw one kind of early doors, but he took off, and we kind of made our way through a couple of fields, and kind of came. We're coming back on ourselves. We're coming up to like kind of a gap. It was just like it's beautiful. This area is beautiful. You want to see the oak trees up here, man. They're absolutely stunning. Really like
Oh,
mature oak trees. They're absolutely gorgeous. But you've trees the whole way along, and then there's a gap and a gate going out into probably a 70, 80 acre field where the pen was going. And the jays were going along, and next thing I had the thermal up, and next thing here's me bowl fox out in the middle of the field. sort of mooching, and we were the right side of the wind for him. So yeah, got in on him anyway, and up with the 6.5 man, and it was the first shot I'd taken out of it in a long, long time, and yeah, nailed on, bang on, and
Deadly.
got him a nice size of a dog fox. So, and as I say, he was in the field where the pen was going, so it was good to
Brilliant.
get him off and headed out for another while. McKeever came across another one, but a rookie mistake hadn't chambered around, and just because it was such a calm night, even the sound of chambering around, he was gone, gone. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, good to get out, man. And then that was, I think, say that was the Wednesday night, was it, or something along the lines of that? And then the Thursday night, the lads in the club made a start at the pen. I wasn't actually there the Thursday night, but they went in, brought up. It was just the thing I love about it, man, is with the club, because you know when it's a new club and there's lads in it that you know, but you don't know them really well. So you're kind of apprehensive going, are lads going to dig in now, or is this all going to be, is it like a lot of clubs and it falls on two or three lads? But it was as simple as text message going up in the group. There was 5 or 6 lads up there. One lad brought down his tractor and post driver, and they got the 8 foot posts. There's one of the lads there, and this man is just a guru. He's he's a long history in rearing birds and stuff. So he was on the ball. He knew where everything was going to go. He had the design of the pen in his head, and in fairness, only for him, we would have been lost. Senan O'Grady's his name, and real nice fella. And so yeah, he had it marked out and drove in the posts and the whole lot, and that kind of Saturday then we
Sorry, Brenny, just I'll stop you. Senator O'Grady, is he Brendan O'Grady's son, no?
I'm
Would he
not
be
I'm not
would he
sure.
be related to Sean Og and Cahill and them boys, would he?
He
No?
would, I do believe he would be. Yeah, yeah, he would be.
Yeah, originally from Coffee, I think, yeah.
I'm honestly not sure, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
actually, yeah, I'm not
Oh,
actually sure now, to be honest. Yeah,
no, just when it's mentioned the name, yeah, it sounds familiar.
yeah, real nice,
Sounds around, yeah.
real nice fella. Yeah, and so yeah, he had that done, and he had to just say he had this design in his head.
Brilliant.
To order the materials what we needed and all. So like, I have to say a massive shout out to him. So then that was done. Then Saturday morning we all met up, and we had the Harris fencing and stuff there ready to go, and I had to go and pick up another couple of panels. And when I got back there, like they had a lot of the panels up, and absolutely super job. Now, I was actually blown away now, to be honest with you, because as I say, it was him that designed the pen, and he was, he's kind of trying to explain it to you, but you're kind of going, yeah, I think I know the way you're thinking of doing it. But man, when I got there, I was absolutely blown away. I couldn't. Ross was with me in the van and Cooper, and we were just like, Jesus, man, that is for our first year, first pen. Man, you've seen pictures of it. I have to say,
Yeah, it's brilliant.
yeah,
Absolutely son.
biased, but I have to say, I think it is. It's a fantastic job. So it's 16 meters by 16 meters, so it's a good size of a pen,
Absolutely, man. It's fantastic. And like as you said, uh, not alone is it a good starter pen, it's a good pen start full stop, and a
Yeah,
fantastic way to kick off the club. I think that's you rightly said it there. You know, you've been away from it for a little while, and you get the
go.
the draw for it now, because
Yeah.
things are becoming, like, because a lot of people don't understand, I suppose, like me and you to be conversing here in the background.
Mm.
A lot of stuff that you've been doing over the last couple of months has been, what would you say, it's, and I say this with it's in inverted commas, it's not perceived as work, because it's um we actually chatted about it this morning. There's chasing things down for paperwork and memberships of certain clubs and license, all that kind of stuff, affiliations, and within that there's a remit of paperwork that has to be done, and there's nothing like that stuff to drag the fucking life out of you. And
Absolutely.
that's the what would you say, the that can tend to not kill your love for it, but it does dampen it. There's no doubt about it when you're in the middle of something like that.
Yeah.
You can't concentrate. Like, it's not just as simple as, fuck it, I go out for a Fox night. You're saying, fuck it, I can't go out for Fox night because I have to do, another round of paperwork, or I have to get membership off lads, or I have to make sure that certain things done. And I'm not saying everyone's doing their bit, but your job as the chairman is to correlate all that. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
does drag the life out of you. Does
It
drag
does.
the life.
It is. That's the hard part. But delighted to say, like we got word from the NARGC and the Kildare Federation. We're all good. We're in with the NARGC, so we're going to get membership packs filled out now shortly. We got a lot of stuff done. We got our credit union account sorted out. Memberships is one of those things, man. It's like we were kind of not worried, but like it's all great. You have a meeting, the plans, and everyone's excited and everyone's on board, and things are great. And then we agree as a club, which is the big thing. There was no one person saying, right, this is what the membership's going to cost. We kind of threw around a couple of figures and we said, look, would everybody be happy with this, for the first year? And everyone was like, yeah. And then like gas one, there was one, there's actually three junior members in the club, which is fucking brilliant. And we were kind of him and hawing about, their costs. And we kind of agreed, no, let the junior members just pay their insurance and they won't pay a joining fee
Brilliant.
because it's
Brilliant.
they're young lads, you know what I mean, and they want to, get going. So he says, no, we'll cover the cost of that as a club because it's great to see it. But
Yeah.
then we kind of set a date to take in the membership. I just couldn't believe it, man. Everyone that said they were joining the club paid their membership. So that was another huge thing because no different than anyone, man. Like there's weeks, there's weeks we wouldn't have it. And there's every like bills pop up and stuff, and sometimes the lad will say, "Look, oh, Jesus, just a bad couple of months at the been or whatever." But in fairness, everyone got on board.
Yeah, and we're in the middle of holiday season, so like a couple of hundred quid out of the kitty at this time is not is nothing to be sniffed at, and it just shows, I suppose, the commitment that's across the board in the club.
Yeah.
How many members did you say, Brenny?
I think I have to double check, man, but I'd say we're over 20.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's 20. I know a couple of them would have been previous members of the NARGC, but in broad terms, there's an extra probably 15 members now this year
Yeah.
in Kildare, which is a fantastic new club, which means that there's another stronghold in the area, more birds, more vermin control, more security and safety for the farmers within your club grounds. So I think that's phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's nothing to be brushed over or sniffed at. I think it's. I said it on the one of the posts, I think, during the week, where it's a mighty day for hunting in Ireland and hunting in Kildare. Fair play to
Yeah,
you.
no, it was great, man. I have to say I was delighted. Just great to see. I think because as we said before, when you're like, I'm born and bred in this area. Do you know what I mean? And I know lads that hunt. Do you know what I mean? I know like, oh, that lad's into a bit of hunting, does a bit of shooting, or this, that, and the other. But when you get together as a club and you see the passion that is still there for them, it is absolutely brilliant. I have to say it'd do you the world of good to see it. And different ideas and stuff. And the bit of crack we had even putting up the pen and that. Jeez, right, how a bit of crack, And like every lad that was there, like there was, that it's down a kind of a quiet sort of a lane. They wouldn't see cars from one end to the other. And just to drive down it and see a flurry of cars and vans, trailers, tractors, lads out with streamers. It was just brilliant. Have to say, absolutely top class now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that gets the blood racing again for what's to come. It's only the start of it now. So it's
Yeah.
from here on in. It's the fun stuff. New
Yeah.
birds. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. 100%. We got rolled. So we ended up doing it with 8 foot posts around. And then we screwed Harris fencing to the outside of the post. And then we ran the Game Flex mesh onto that then, which I don't know if you've used that. It is some stuff. Have you ever
Is
seen
it? Yeah.
it? It's absolutely unbelievable. It's about inch square mesh. And to look at it, man, you think if you sneezed at it, it'd break. Myself and McKeever got a handful of it, and as hard as we could pull it, man, not a hope. And I swear to Jesus, it's no thicker than, it's not much thicker than dental floss. But whatever sort of stuff is in it, there's not a hope for it would you break it. And I mean not a hope for it.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, so we got that and then we ran that around the sides. Then Senan had the idea, he got like, a damp proof and he ran it kind of on the bottom and out about a foot and a half or 2 foot. So the beauty of that is it stops weeds growing up. So then we can put our electric fence poles along that. Do you know what I mean? So you have weeds growing up hitting the fence.
Yeah.
And then what do we put? Then we'd heavier mesh then on the bottom of that as well, like chicken wire as well to stop at and root, trying to dig underneath it. And then it was all anchored to the ground. Then, of course, we ran in the middle of the posts. We ran up 3x2s, and then we used like 20 mil nylon rope as a kind of what's it, like a truss, I suppose, or do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that the net and sit on top of, and to keep it up. And then we put up. I'd go through 2x1s, and we made up roosts, plenty of roosts for them, and then we'd sheets of galvanized and stuff, and we made some like what's the word? Like just
Shelters.
shelters. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly for
very
them.
good.
Yeah. So no, it turned out well. Now I have to say it turned out well. So yeah, get the memberships packs filled up, sent in, and then we're good to go. And then the birds, we've 150 birds coming in 2 weeks' time. We're getting them from a fella in Donegal. I'm not actually too sure. I'll find out the name of the fella.
It's Stuart, is it? I think he's up that way, Stuart Donegal. I think.
You could be
Uh,
right, man. Yeah, he
yeah,
delivers them down and all. So like, it's just
very good.
like,
Very
yeah,
good.
yeah, spot on, spot on. So it's all going, man. It's all going. I'm looking forward to it now. I'm excited. And as I sit here talk to you, it just dawned on me, I still haven't submitted my deer license. I need to do that now this week.
Maguire, will
I
you?
I know, I know. Honest, Jesus, you won't.
3 weeks, man.
I know, man. You will not feel that coming around. You will not feel that coming around. Yeah,
Get it in tonight now. When get off the podcast, Stephen. Get the fucking
yeah.
take you 10 minutes. Get it out the fuck. Get it submitted and job done.
Yeah, what do you need? You need like copies of photo ID or what? What actually do you need?
No, you take a picture of yourself. You need a picture of your front and back of your rifle license.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I think they should have most of your other details on the. You might have to fill out your name and address, the usual kind of store for confirmation of that. But yeah, do you have a MyGov account? Yeah, MyGov.ie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's done through that. You log in through that. But the I'll send you the link for the MPWS thing. And yeah, you log in there and it'll ask you, do you want to log in through your MPWS or through your MyGov? And say, yeah, and then it's pretty straightforward after that.
Happy days, man. Happy days. Yeah. No.
You'll do it in 10, 15 minutes. Easy.
Yeah. No. Well, I'll do that. You actually won't feel that coming. So.
No, because if you don't, you'll have your holidays next week and then it'll be literally a week to hunting season.
Yeah, no, no, I do. I know, I definitely do. I will absolutely 100%. Yeah. We got another guy came over last night, another one of the members last night, and I just had it. I literally just put it up in the group and said, if anybody knows where we get, do you know, like the 50-liter blue barrels with the,
Yeah,
and we'll buy the spring feeders for the bottom of them and stuff. And a lad texted me last night and he says, I threw 6 of them over your gate there. Those were absolutely the best with the lids, all the seals still in them, absolutely class. And
brilliant.
a couple more. So yeah, so Jesus, great, great.
Yeah, no, you're well on. Like as I say, you're into the fun stuff now, man. Do you know what I mean? Where all the kind of the hard yards and the laborious fucking paperwork and rubbish is done. Now it's just about getting the birds out, getting them fed, and enjoying them, watching them grow, which is the fun part, and getting a bit of shooting, please God, in August.
Yeah, so honest to God, man. Yeah, it's actually lovely. Then on Sunday, herself, and the two kids, you were able to walk from my house, kind of just across the bog and down a bit of a lane to where the pen is. Like to drive in a car, it's probably 5 kilometers, but to walk across it in the field, it's only probably 2. Do you know what I mean? It was long.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's nice now bringing them up. So
Just think about that now. Like that's going to be huge. I think for you take Cooper there. You know,
yeah,
um, his memories kind of start now. I know. Don't get me wrong. He's gone hunting with you before, but in terms of Broadford Gun Club, like his memories now will be, you know,
yeah,
walking out his back door, across the fields, down to the pen. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And he'll be telling his kids, please God, God willing, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where we set up the first pen and brought. You know, he'll remember that. You know, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely. No, 100%.
Cool.
Even the local the Facebook group here, they even had a post up on it. It was just cool to see. Like, it was lovely to see stuff like that because you always like Jesus and I love the G and I'm a big fan of G and stuff. But it's nice to see a little bit of something different. Like for them to go. They had went up and they took pictures and put it up and a huge day for the parish and stuff. It's great, just great. So all around, it's great. It's great to see it.
There's no negatives there, man. That's all good. I had a small little bit of hunting news. I didn't get much in, but I had a knock on my door going back a couple of weeks ago, and a young lad across the road um, from myself, just down the road. Um, they've a bit of farm there, and his uncle had given him his guns, and so he got a 2-2, a Bruno, long barrel Bruno,
Mhm.
2-2, and I didn't see the shotgun now, but his father asked me would I give him a hand setting up the rifle. So this thing was produced, and oh, I now you think I don't look after guns, man. This was different fucking level, you know. Um, but I said, Jesus, I mean, first reservations were I don't know about this thing, you know. So I gave it a good clean, took it all apart, cleaned it all down with him. And I said to him, I'm still not, I wouldn't be holding my hopes up here, you know. And I said, did he give you a scope of this thing, you know? And the old iron sight on it was seized, that'll tell you, on the top of it.
Oh,
Um, and he produced a scope, man, that I can only describe as, well, it shouldn't be anywhere near a gun, but it was like something. Do you ever see the tie scopes that be on some of the
basically just two pieces of perspex.
I'm not I shit you not, you know.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of an adjustment thing on the side of it, but that was cracked off, and there was a nut in it, and there was more rust in it than there was metal. So anyway, I went off, got my little scope for it, mounted it, brought him down to the field and set up the targets, and fucking, you know, an hour and a half later, you know, by the time you get everything set up, and so I went out to 30 yards and I bore sighted it, and put the scope on, got it roughly on paper. Difficult enough to do in a 2-2, as you know,
Yeah.
because you're looking through a knife and needle. But got it on paper, um, and set up, took the first shot, and I had a meter by a meter board, you know, and I was aiming dead center, and it was bottom corner right, so about a foot and a half low and a foot and a half right,
Oh.
um,
At what distance?
at 30 yards.
What the love of another Jesus.
So the scope wouldn't go that far. So I just said to him, uh, now, and look, I wouldn't have huge experience in setting up guns and rifles and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but I just said to him, my honest opinion, I said, um, I think there's something very, very wrong with the barrel of this gun. Um, I would suggest bring it over to the guru himself, over in Centre Gold, Mick, and let him have a peek at that. And that will do two things. It will tell you whether or not it's the scope that I was after getting him, whether it was the gun,
Yeah.
or whether it's myself, or a mixture of all three. And I said, and that being the case, then you'll be in the right shop then to make a look after him with a little second-hand 2-2 or something like that, you know. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and that was, but he was the I could see the life was sucked out of him, you know, because he was mad to get out hunting, you know. So I said to him, look, what we'll do is, I said, do you want to go over to your place? We'll have a little peek around and see if we can get an old rabbit or something. And he was fucking elected. So I got my little 2-2, and over we went, and place flooded with rabbits actually over there. And we went out and we got a couple of rabbits, and I showed him how to gut them and prepare them, and he went over. My last memory of it was I watched him walking up the garden path with two rabbits in his hand, um, going up to prep them for the pot. And I said, that kind of, I don't know, it was warm my heart, you know. It was kind of one of them, them feel good things, you know. It
Yeah,
turned
absolutely.
a kind of negative to a positive, and it was only an hour in the middle of the day, but he went off, and I know for a fact he has the bug, um,
Yeah.
and I was telling him, you know, how to cook them, and he loved every bit of it. So yeah, another hunter, um, ready to go. So a good bit of a news story, as to say.
That's savage, man. Yeah, Jesus, that's great. Yes, and the gas. It'll bring you back to your own memories, don't it? When you kind of got into hunting first, and you get your
Yeah,
gun and you get your, like we've spoke about before. When you're out after a pheasant, there's nothing. It's so stupid, but not stupid, but there's not. When you're walking home and you've a pheasant or two in the hand or a duck or two in the hand, and they go no broke over the shoulder. It's brilliant. Just
yeah.
as the fella says, there's no going back after that.
Even that's why I said to him, you know, that's I said, is that the first animal that you've held, game animal that you've held in your hand? That's that you've gone out and helped hunt, you know. And he said, yeah, absolutely. And I said, well, you make sure and eat that, you know, because that's it's an animal, it's a game animal, and it's a very important one. It's your first one, so make sure and
Mm.
throw that in the pot. So he was 100% he was going into Cookit, and probably no more than myself. He made the bollocks of it, but nonetheless, it's he has the bug. I know he has, and walking up that, I know, because we've felt it, we've talked about it. You have, it's like the hunter gatherer thing. You've gone out, you know what I mean. You've gone through the rough ditches and and you come back with a bit of grub, and there's no better feeling. No better feeling.
No, absolutely, man, without a doubt. Yeah, geez, that's great. No, that's great. Yeah, well, hopefully he'll get sorted out with a nice little 2-2 for himself. I know Mick will definitely look after him over there. He won't.
You will, of course. You will, of course.
Won't steer him wrong. I have to say that's great. I have to say one. I have to give one shout out to Mick. I have to say one thing I like about Mick is, and the lads over in centre goal, they're not there to push you into. The way some players you'll go in and they'll be like, kind of, I just want something. Next thing they'll produce a York that's like $2,000, and you're there. Oh, Jesus, we're on the wrong. We're on the wrong. With Mick, if you go, he'll have something for him, and he won't play it down. It'll be there's a gun. It's not Brady, but it's he'd stand over and say, that gun is straight as a die and all that. And I have to,
absolutely,
it's a joy. I'd be over in Mexico, but it's great to see young lads coming in and Mick engaging with them, and he's not about trying to squeeze every last euro of any lad. It's about getting the lad out there, get him set up, and get him hunting and that. And I have to say, it is a great. I love to see that. It's great. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I think there's probably a throwback to the old kind of traditional, what would you say, gun shop. Where they recognise, that every new hunter is good for the business in general, whether they buy off them or not. We're all in it kind of together. And Mick, as you know, put up a great prize on the day for our clay shoot, and Con actually won first prize, and Con actually went over to him. I think last Thursday, and he just gave me a message. I messaged Mick just to say, look, the winner of the comp is coming over. He'd be a very accomplished clay shooter and a shotgun shooter, but he's after getting a rifle and needs a bit of an assistance and a few bits and pieces for it. And sure, no better man to say, like, I think Con was probably over there for an hour and a half and came out with a heap of knowledge, and back for more. Couldn't talk highly enough of him. So big shout out to the two lads, Owen and Mick. Fair play to you. Huge supporters of what we do here, and huge supporters of hunting and shooting in general.
Absolutely, yeah. That's off. On that, I suppose we just do want to mention as well. We were talking earlier on, and I like to put the hand up. Obviously, the past couple of weeks has just been hectic, and we've been approached by a good few crowds at this stage. We do actually need to get back to a few of them about testing out some gear and stuff for them. One of which we did mention before, and I will be picking it up. I'd say this probably next week, and it is the new ThermTech handheld thermals.
Yeah.
They have a range of stuff out there. Centre Gold Ammo, they're going to be the distributors for them. So Owens, I've had a chat with Owen. Owens told me all the good stuff about these. Impressive looking bit of gear straight off the bat, and looking forward to getting these out now and giving them a good demo and run through their paces, and we will give us an honest review one way or another. So yeah, that's one of the good things that's going to come, hopefully, in the podcast in the next couple of weeks.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Untethered and Wanderwise, where adventure has no age limit. We're your co-host, Heidi Brandist and Nikki Mahandro, and we're here to inspire and celebrate women over 45 who are embracing their independence and want to explore the world on their own terms.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it just before we come on. We've had a few messages probably during the week, and as Christy Moore said, we're not a fucking jukebox. However, we don't do things just on I think one or two lads were. I've asked for a couple of times for this and so on, and we understand we're trying our best to give a spread this time of the year, as Brenny has rightly pointed out. There's very little shooting going on, so we're trying to delve into the little bit of fishing. We have the bit of dog work coming up on the next segment of the podcast. That's training that's still alive and well this time of the year. And I think we've covered a nice stretch of stuff. But in terms of, Owen has asked us to put the ThermTech through its paces and give them the honest review, and that's what we will do. That's what we like, and so on. And we're going to be evolving that little space a little bit more with our YouTube and so on. And we also have we have our new bit of kit that we're we're getting our head around, and we're starting to me and Brandy will be dipping out into different places. We get to go to different parts of the country, and we can interview different people, different shops, and so on and so forth. So over the next while, and we've started that process already. We'll be touching base with a few different characters, shall we say? So huge things to come. So just don't race off just yet.
No, exactly. And a little bit of we've got some big names we've got some big players in the world of hunting.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, and some very interesting characters, Brennan.
Absolutely, and we'll leave it at that. So you'll have to stay
Yeah.
see who we're going on. We're gonna bring we had Dave Bavero on from the Global Retrievers podcast on earlier on. We've just finished up a bit of an interview with him. Interesting guy. Very, very, very passionate about what he does, and I think that'll definitely come through on the interview when you hear it. And yeah, just an all around nice sort of fella. He's coming over in September. He visits Ireland regularly enough, and he actually, as you'll hear, he gets a lot of his dogs actually from here. But interesting guy all the same, and I think people are definitely going to enjoy that.
It's really cool, and he's really, I think, especially this neck of the woods, people will resonate with him. He's a very, very chilled, laid back style. You could listen to him all day. We had a great chat with him. Good crack. He's fond of a bit of porter and a bit of whiskey. We hope to break open a couple of them when he does get over. But this is another part of the game, Bren, me and you wouldn't be hugely versed in. And very, very has me thinking. Has me thinking now, I have to say.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, and we'll let him. But there's a couple of things that he did mention about the whole, the Labradors and stuff, and it kind of never really dawned on me. But it makes sense when he says it. Like why use a lab, So an interesting one. Talking about beers, he just sent me a picture there about 5 minutes ago. He's after sneaking out to the pub for a beer. So he's
and they do it right in Texas, don't they?
They do it right in Texas, man. Without a shadow of a doubt, man. So yeah, there's some interesting questions and stuff that we're after asking them. So people get a bit from that. Yeah, I suppose before we kind of wrap it up and hand you over to Dave, keep liking, following, and sharing. Any questions you have on anything hunting related. Not saying we'll have the answers, but we will know somebody that will have the answers. So, as always, get in touch. Thanks to everyone that does supports the podcast. That's a huge thing we have to say. Without yous, and the subscribers and the Patreons and stuff like that, it probably wouldn't be possible. So we hats off. We do really, really appreciate it. We don't take
absolutely. The following's growing. We grow weekly. We continue to grow, and by growing, it means that we can touch base with the likes of Dave. Dave probably wouldn't have heard about us if it was not for the phenomenal growth we've had over the last year. So that makes the different connections possible. So if people want to hear new content and so on and so forth, continue to spread the word. Let people know we're out there. Our YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, we're all there. Give us a like, give us a follow, and kick back, open a beer. As Bernie will probably tell you better than I. You've a kind of a bit more of a soothing voice, don't you, McGuire?
Yes, I don't know about that, lad. Depends on the hour of the day and who I'm talking to.
You do, yeah. You could open a. Geez, that could be something now, man.
What's that?
I was thinking there during the week, of different things, we could do with the merch and so on and so forth now. And this is going to go in a completely different angle than I was. Will I tell you what I was going to go at first, and then I'll tell just now?
Jeez, this could be there. I've learned to edit something, so this could be edited. But go on.
But when I tell you what, you can tell me then what the merch. I was thinking a bit of merch to sum McGuire up, right? So, and I was just thinking like a straw cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like this now.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like Claire had them back in '98. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's boys with the straw with a like. Do you know like fucking? I know I've kind of done the Desperate Dan fucking thing, with the. But if you can imagine Desperate Dan with a big thumbs up, jumping out, emblem at the front with 110%.
110%. Jeez, what's this I used to say? What's the 110% people used to? What was the one thing I used to say people used to get onto me at the start?
What the fuck was that now?
It was something I used to always say, and people were like, they remember they used to quote me on it the whole time. I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, I do. It wasn't 110%, wasn't it?
It wasn't 110%. No, it was something else.
Sure as eggs.
No, it was something else. It was definitely something else. It was something else. I'm sure.
You've had a few, man.
I've had a few, man. On the whole straw hat thing, I've always said, and I live by this. I would love, ideally, to live somewhere that you could walk around during the day wearing a cowboy hat and not look like a complete idiot. Do you know what I mean? That's why I kind of like going to like country music concerts, because you can wear a cowboy hat and not look like a dope.
Well, here's my thing, man. I actually like when there's no when I'm going down my lane, I know there's no good, but I do bring me out cowboy hat and I wear it the odd time.
Yeah, but there's a bit of a so.
There is, man, there is. Yeah.
Just don't ever wear it if you're going like to price up a job in a house or something like that. Imagine you all can get that with the cowboy hat.
Look, that gig was given away a long time ago, man. But that's what I was thinking. But I'll scrap that idea. I'm just thinking there now, man. We could have an IHB like you could do a fucking like the sex lines, for women. I think that go down a treat there. Your Broadford. Your Broadford Sudan voice there.
This has taken a turn, man. This is
I know. I've had too many. Let's kick back to Dave.
We're going to bring us out to Dave now. And I hope he's all enjoyed this, and stay tuned. And yeah, big things to come. All going well.
Enjoy the holidays, Brenny. Talk to you on the other side, man.
Take it easy, man. Have a good one. Cheers, folks. Bye bye. Dave Bavero, how's things, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Well, we're not too bad, man. We're not too bad. We were having a bit of a chat here before we started recording about the weather, and there's a slight little bit of a difference, I suppose, in what you guys are getting over there. Tell us, what is it doing right now where you are?
Yeah, so it's 96, 97, so that's about 36 Celsius. So we're it's pretty hot, and it's actually the 4th of July here too. So
yeah,
we got it's a holiday here. So with
happy Independence Day.
Yeah, Independence Day. Yeah,
brilliant,
good stuff. Happy Independence Day. Hope the celebrations go well, and I think you guys are cooking over there. We're slightly close to fridge temperature over here.
Yeah,
one of us is I think both of us actually are probably looking at each other saying, I'd like a little bit of that, but there you go. The grass is always greener, as they say.
Yeah, never fail.
Yeah, I was up in the Northeast last week, and the weather there was nice. I was up in Connecticut doing a little, visiting some family and doing a little fishing up there, Long Island Sound, kind of Connecticut across from Long Island and New York there. So the weather was beautiful. So got to do a little fishing, but now back to the heat.
Yeah,
until September. Until September. So.
For I suppose for both of our podcasts, your podcast, Dave, is the Global Retriever podcast.
Correct.
Ours is the Irish Hunting podcast. You're very, very welcome to ours. And thanks for having us on yours.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we can collaborate on this, and looking forward to talking to you guys about some hunting and dogs and all kinds of stuff. So I love listening to you guys, and it's you guys always do a great job.
And likewise.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Start us off, Dave. Whereabouts in? Obviously, you're in America. Whereabouts are you coming from now, or where are you based yourself?
Yeah, so I am in kind of south central Texas, outside of San Antonio. Yeah. So I'm about an hour from downtown San Antonio. So pretty far south, about 2.5 hours from the Mexican border. If you kind of a straight shot. So we're definitely a warm climate for the US. So about almost as far south as you can get.
Spot on.
And then you guys are, what I understand, close to a little bit north of Dublin. Is that right?
We're kind of more so in the Midlands. We wouldn't be too far from a place. You've spent a bit of time in Mullingar, isn't it? You've been to Mullingar.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I've been going there every year for the last several years, so I know approximately where you guys are located.
Yeah.
We're Midlanders, as Brenny said. We're known as Colchies to the Dublin contingent. Yeah. We're known as Dubs to the Western contingent.
Yeah.
So Midlanders.
We'd be
Landers.
yeah. So if you were to convert that into American, we'd be rednecks, I suppose. That would.
Yeah.
And there ain't nothing wrong with being a redneck.
No.
No, we got a few of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
An old dub used to tell me redneck in Ireland was where a fella give you a slap on the back of the neck and say, "Get up to Dublin and get a job." That's what it is. So
Very good. Very good. Come here. We're going to talk about all things hunting and dogs now in a second, but I have one little question for you. You spend a good bit of time in Mullingar. Where's your favorite pub?
Let's see here. Well, I'm bad with the names. But there's several of them right there. There's a hotel that I stayed at that had a really nice pub down there, right downtown Mullingar. I'd have to look it up though. I can't remember the name of it.
The Greville Arms, I'd say, was it?
Yeah, there it is. Yep, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's last year I stayed there, and that was a great little pub down there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you had a few pints of the black stuff you did.
Oh yeah. We I love Guinness. I'm pretty sure we had some every night we were there. So
It's nutritious, man. It's they used to encourage pregnant women over here to drink it for iron, and then I remember when I started to give blood, you donate blood over here, and the when you were finished giving your pint of blood, you used to get a little can of Guinness as a little reward for giving your blood. So there you go. They don't do it anymore.
yeah, I imagine not.
Yeah. So there you go. That's a true story.
I must know loads of lads that give blood then, because I know loads of lads that drink Guinness.
No. The lads Maguire have an IV directly full of Guinness straight in, and there's nothing coming back out the other way. There'd be no wastage there now. No wastage there.
Hard to beat it.
Yeah, the Guinness and then the whiskey. The two.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Firewater.
Yeah, I've been I've worked my way around a few of those of the distilleries. Let's say been to Slane, Kilbeggan, Powers, Jameson, Tullamore. I think those are the ones
What's your favorite, Dave? What's the
so right now, I mean, Jameson's, I think a good
hard to beat
all around. Yeah, it's pretty hard to beat, especially for the price point. But I really like the Slane. I was actually at the concert I went to when I was up in Connecticut. They were like a sponsor of it, so I was kind of surprised to see that. So they had it right there at the bar, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I've been pretty impressed with that whiskey.
I think that's owned by Jack Daniels, that distillery, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I think I read that somewhere that was actually owned by Jack Daniels. I thought, but I could be wrong on that now. I'm not sure.
Well, I suppose in lieu of us having this podcast, I tipped down yesterday after work into Salt Hill here, and I said I was going to have I had aspirations to have an American bourbon or something like that. And I went into the Oslo bar, which Brendan knows well here, and it was these like signs on the tables, America's #1 selling shot, and I seen whiskey #1 selling. So I said, I'll have me one of them, thinking it'll give us something to talk about here just for a brief moment. But it was called Fireball. I don't know whether you know that day.
Oh man, that is.
Oh man,
yeah, it's like Fireball is like a cinnamon whiskey.
Oh, it's horrendous. It's horrendous, isn't it?
Oh, I don't like it. I know like a lot of young people do shots with it and stuff, but yeah, it's not my thing. Yeah.
No, and I let the barman know as well. I said that shouldn't have whiskey in the name of that, But there you go. I think that's a small drop of whiskey and a whole pile of aviation fluid. I think it tastes like to me. But
yeah, there's a lot of the American bourbons here in Texas. Quite a few. There's popping up of little distilleries, and I mean, there's so many different ones. But there's one called Eagle Rare. If you can find it over there, it's probably, I would say, probably the best bourbon that you could get.
Okay.
I used to like when we lived in Australia. and it was most Australians that would have either Jack Daniels, some of them would drink the other one. What was the other one? Jim Beam, which I wasn't a
Oh
fan.
yeah. Yeah.
Then we used to get it, and it was Wild Turkey American Honey, and
Oh yeah.
I did enjoy that. Now that was nice, just with a bit of ice. It was nice
Oh yeah.
sweetness to it.
Yep. Those are the old school ones. Now there's hundreds of them. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know how they
similar.
stay in business.
Yeah, absolutely. We better jump in and talk a little bit about some hunting and stuff. We'll get the introductions out of the way, I suppose, first, and a bit of a background. Sure, you might kick us off there, Dave. Tell
Yeah,
us.
sure. Yeah. So, yeah, my name's Dave Bavero, and I own Waterstone Labradors here in Texas, and my primary focus is British and Irish Labradors. So I get all of my dogs and hunting stock, mostly from Ireland. I have a little bit of some stuff from England, Wales, Scotland, but a majority of the dogs have come from Ireland. And we can go into a little bit more later too of why I chose that direction compared to everything else that's out here. But kind of a smaller operation. We do a few litters a year. I do some training. I do a lot of hunting with my dogs, and I do some competitions, what we would call a hunt test, which over there you'd probably call it a working test, would be kind of something that would be similar. And then we have our field trials. I don't do that. I stick to our hunt test. So. And I've had British Labradors, Irish Labradors for, going on probably 25 years now. And had them mainly as just kind of a pets and hobby, and did a lot of hunting with it. And then just kind of got more and more into it. And people really liked the dogs I had. And then I tried the breeding, and then it's just kind of mushroomed from there. And it's just really taken off. And it's been great. I mean, it's opened up a whole world to me of different people, like yourself, that I've met from all over the world. That I've got to meet people from all over the UK and Ireland and Italy and in Belgium and all over. So it's been a fun journey so far.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
Just shows, I suppose, common interest. We're all interlinked in some way. I think myself and Brenny probably we'd know a couple of people with labs over here, but obviously the most popular breeds would be, the spaniels and pointers, so on and so forth. We wouldn't. So it's I speak personally here, but wouldn't have huge knowledge in terms of the Labrador world. And you broached there, Dave. Why? Well, firstly, why labs, and secondly, why this part of the world to come and source your stock?
Yeah, so the Labrador, obviously, one of the most popular breeds in the world, and certainly in the U.S. It's a good all around dog. You can do almost all of the hunting here, whether it be upland hunting, pheasants or grouse, waterfowl, ducks, geese. We do a lot of dove hunting here, any bird that needs to be retrieved, but then they'll also flush game for you. So, and I mean, there's even some pointing lab stuff going on over here. The lines that I have don't point. So they're great overall, overall, like just general all around dog. And they can do it all. And then the temperament, I think, is some of the bigger differences from, say, maybe kind of the pointers or the setters. They're a little bit more relaxed of a dog, so they make a good pet as well. They adapt well to the house, pretty much all conditions, and that's the reason that that I get my labs over there, is because it's a much purer line and bloodline. And so particularly the field trial dogs, so the UK style field trial is a competition where the dog really has to remain calm and quiet. So in a field trial there, if a dog literally makes any kind of a squeak or noise, they would be eliminated, be an eliminating fault in the competition. They have to be a very calm, settled dog, or they would be eliminated for the competition. So the breeding is for that. Has really kind of carried through, and that's kind of the main reason that we have, decided to go that route. And there are several kennels here in the U.S. that breed them. There's some big ones, some small ones, but it's really gaining popularity because I can tell you that a lot of the American lines, like most things we do, we kind of want it bigger, faster, stronger. And that's not necessarily a good thing because you get a dog that's maybe too much. They may be a fantastic hunting dog, but then they don't have the ability to turn it off or an off switch in the house. And let's face it, most people, they hunt a few days a year, and the rest of the time that dog has to, hang out and be relaxed. So people really love that balance. Yeah.
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 I could definitely, and I don't have much. I had a chocolate lab for a while, but there was no much hunting in her at all. To be honest, she'd go all day, but I definitely get what you're saying there. That and even for someone like myself, who I haven't got massive space at the back of me in my own place, I need a dog that can do both. Exactly as you said, it has to be predominantly probably family dog, but then also one that you can bring out and will get the job done. I don't do any trials or I'm not in a competitive way, but yeah, it would be nice to have a dog that you can bring out and it'll flush game and retrieve for you. That's the beauty I think definitely about the Labradors. Whereas I know you can get it. Me and Anthony would have worked probably with springers most of our kind of hunting careers, but you can be. I think there's two types of springers. I think there's
Yeah, I've seen some.
I won't say good ones or bad ones. There's ones that are great dog and very what would you say? Just the behavioral traits of them, they can be calm and they're very, what would you say, disciplined, I suppose. And then you get the other ones that just kind of will hunt all day, have loads of beans in them, but they don't switch off. So when you try to get them home, they do not switch off, and that's not for everyone. Would
it be fair to say there's like a little undercurrent of madness? The back leg is kind of consistently ready to rock and roll, whereas as Dave, you probably pointed out there, where the labs are a little bit more polished, a little bit more reserved. I think they tend to have that off switch compared to what me and Brenny are experienced with ours, which there's the off switch sometimes doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's, the off switch is really the key. And it's probably the number one thing that when people inquire about getting a dog for me, that's what they want. So,
yeah.
They want a dog that, literally can just turn it off. And then when you get in the field, can turn it on. And the other thing I'll mention too is the nose and the game finding ability. That has also been paramount because that's part of the field trial is the game finding ability. And unfortunately here, a lot of our tests and certainly our field trials, they've really gotten away from that. It's not really tested. It's more of a sight game, and it's become more technical and longer distances. So the dogs that do well have, they're trained to what we call a mark, which would be a bird that would fall at a long distance and go retrieve it. And, some of these competitions, it might be 300 yards, 400 yards. And there's really no nose involved there. So a lot of that's kind of getting bred out of the dog. And then certainly the e-collar, and we can talk hours on that, has really changed the breed, putting a lot of pressure on dogs constantly, and then breeding that over generation and generation. You get a more amped up dog because they're able to handle the pressure. Where the dogs that I get, that they're not trained on an e-collar, and you can tell the difference. I can see a dog trained on an e-collar, and I can tell you immediately that they have been, and I can tell a dog that hasn't been. There's definitely some things, and then if you do that over years and years and years, you change it. You change the genetics of the dogs.
And just going back there, Dave, slightly, if and this is for someone like myself who's not a by any means well versed in this, what makes, I suppose, the labs suited for long distance retrieving compared to, say, the likes of what myself and Brenny will be more used to in terms of springers, pointers, setters, etc.
Yeah, so the what they would call a good marking dog. So a dog that has good vision. Now, all the dogs we breed and stuff get tested for the eye issues, and the eyes have to be clear and good and all that. But again, generations, if you breed dogs that can mark birds and dummies that fall at longer distances, you can breed that into a line. You get a really good marking dog, and you keep focusing on that versus a dog that you may say, well, I need a good nose for hunting, right? Because I want to be able to find that pheasant or find that grouse. So different, right? You see how it can kind of go in separate directions. And then they even kind of look a little bit different. You'll see the American labs are, I would say, more hound-like and have like a longer leg so they can travel longer distance quicker. And the British and Irish dogs are, I think, more traditional. You have kind of a, well-built, muscular dog, nice legs, nice head, low tail. And to me, that's important to kind of keep that standard, in not like a show lab where you've probably seen those where that's really gone in a whole different direction, where the dogs are just like, kind of a big, like almost like barrel looking dog, with very short legs. That's a whole nother direction and a whole nother thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
I remember that chocolate lab I had. It was bought for me as a gift when I was very young. But yeah, that was whatever breeding. She was tiny, absolutely tiny.
Yeah.
And she grew long ways.
And it doesn't. The chocolate really doesn't exist in the field trial lines over there. I've never seen one.
Okay.
Yeah. It's blacks, yellows, and then the fox red. The fox red has been an extremely popular color, it's basically a yellow. It's classified as a yellow, but the darker yellow, what they call fox red, extremely popular and very striking looking dog. Beautiful dog.
Yeah. There's a friend of mine, and he hunts with a dog. I don't know what was the name of it. A something Bay Retriever.
Oh, Chesapeake Bay.
Chesapeake.
Yeah.
The only one I've ever seen in my entire life. They're probably a lot more popular over there, but I've an outstanding dog in water. I've never.
Oh yeah, they're a water dog. Yeah, they are a water dog.
Yeah. But so unusual, very, very similar in color, or it's very, very similar in looks to a Labrador, but a kind of I don't know how you'd even describe the coat on them. It's not long haired, it's not short. It's kind of
like almost like a little curly, little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Honest to God, yeah. And the eyes, the eyes, like I've never seen a dog before in my life. So
they have kind of almost a yellowish kind of tint to them. Yeah.
They're fantastic dog. Yeah.
That's an American breed from the Chesapeake Bay. It originated over kind of Maryland, Virginia area. That's where that dog was developed to hunt that real cold, rough water.
Right.
You also just delved. Sorry, David, just briefly there on the e-collars, and that kind of got me spiked there. What is the difference? You don't use them yourself, and what would you say the pros and cons of that system?
Yeah. So an e-collar, I guess the e-collar used correctly can be a good tool. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand how to use it, and it's used improperly. Like I said, a hammer is a good tool, but it's not a good tool to, put in a screw, right? So there's some of that going on, but the issue that I have with it is from a breeding standpoint. Like, you really can change a dog, and you can change the demeanor of the dog, what the dog can accomplish, and so you really don't know the traits you're passing on, if they're because of that collar, or it's because it has a good natural talent. So my philosophy is I'd rather not use one, and I'd rather wash out dogs that can't do it on a natural basis, and stick with that, as opposed to try to force a dog to get to a point where I want them with that collar. Because you can do a lot with a collar, especially at distance. To make a correction on a dog, if the dog's 50 yards away from you, you gotta run out there and grab the dog and make the leash correction. And there's a lot of schools of thought, if you don't get a correction within the first second, the dog doesn't know what they're being corrected for. So, but I don't see a need really for the e-collar if you're really training a hunting dog. Here, unfortunately, if you want to compete on a very high level in some of the testing, you're at a major disadvantage without the collar, because it's highly technical. And I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a pond, right? Let's say the pond's 100 yards by 100 yards, and the bird falls on the other side. The expectation is the dog goes straight through the water, cross the pond, over, picks the bird, turns around, comes back through the pond into you, as opposed to just running around the pond, which would be more logical to a dog, because they could probably do it quicker and faster. But the way they have these tests, you would be disqualified from doing that. So.
Okay.
So it's similar kind of, if in a footballing sense, you're taking the natural kind of flares that's in the dog out to be more robotic, more.
Perfect. Yeah, robotic would be a good word. And you can see it on a dog too. Like a whistle command with a dog, right? Where you blow a whistle, like one whistle with a sit whistle. The dog should turn around and look at you kind of in a happy way, expecting a retrieve or a direction of where to go, as opposed to kind of I'm going to get walloped by a shock and the head goes down. Like, you can see it on dogs. And again, very effective for what you want the dog to do, but I just don't like it. I don't like the way it looks on the dog. I just don't want to do that to a dog. Like I said, if the dog can't do it and I can't do it with other means, we'll move on to another dog.
Yeah.
That's
very good.
Yeah. Just on some of the trials and stuff you're doing, like, we'd be, I suppose, similar with the tactics when it comes to springers. Well, Anthony, that would be more versed on it than I would, but is it, say on retrieving with your labs, is there a certain technique you would use specifically for the likes of labs for doing a task like that, or is it, is there anything in particular, any certain way that you would do it?
Yeah, so I mean, to train for our test, we actually set up like a lot of just kind of mock tests for them to run, and the competitions consist of a marked retrieve and a blind retrieve. So a blind being sent out for a bird that they don't know where it is, and they're relying on the handler to get there by hand signals. And then a marked retrieve is a bird that they see fall, and they have to go out and pick up that bird and bring it back to you. There's also some things called a diversion bird, where birds are thrown out as the dog is coming back in, and they have to not switch. They have to bring the original bird back to you, turn around, go back and get that bird. There's also an honor, which an honor is they have to sit next to the dog and have to watch that dog do the task. So a hunt test is against a standard. So like you have a working test over there, which would be, it's kind of similar. There are some differences. I've seen them. But you're actually competing against other dogs for like a first, second, third, or fourth place. A hunt test is against a standard. It's a pass or fail. And then you accumulate points for a title. So like one of my dogs there, Scout, he has it's called a hunting retriever champion title. So he's got a certain amount of points that qualified for him by passing a number of those tasks. So it's a little bit of a different system. If we wanted to go to a competition, I would have to go to a field trial. But a field trial, it doesn't resemble a UK field trial in really any way, shape, or form, and I just don't do them.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And I've been, as Bernie probably touched on, very poorly, I might say. I'm trying to train my dog at the minute. I have a nice little Springer pup, but the and I've been obviously on the interweb, as they say, and I've been trying to garner as much. And we've had Pat Brennan on a couple of times, and yeah, garner information and so on. And as I'm trawling through, I'd see, I'd like your opinion on this. You know, the sit and stay commands with labs. Do you utilize that, or do you just use sit only? I've seen kind of conflicting reports on that. Is that
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do the, sit means sit. I do use a stay command too.
yeah,
Yeah, because to me, there is a little bit of a
different?
difference.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like a sit could be just briefly until I give you a cast, where a sit and stay, I may just want to put your butt there and say stay, and then I walk away and doing some other stuff. So, and
yeah.
then to me, they're not expecting me to do anything after I say stay. A sit, like something else could be coming after the sit.
Yeah, and that kind of got me thinking, because I've watched both sides of that argument, and I was kind of just got me thinking, for instance, if you're out duck hunting, where you're waiting for a flight to come in, and there's you want your dog to sit but be on what would you say, on notice, you know what I mean? We could be on something here, or else if you're going to move, and or slightly, you don't want your dog kind of sitting there ready to rock and roll. So I was interested in your thoughts on just on that particular one, I suppose.
Yeah.
And we've a couple of questions from a few of our listeners, and I hope you don't mind me passing, or just
Yeah,
shouting,
no, that's great. That's
because
great.
how do you move then from the standard dummy to wild game? What's the techniques or the little tricks? Any tips you could give to a few of our guys over here?
Yeah. So, what's interesting, and I'll give you a couple different schools of thought. So here, like the common US kind of method is to introduce them to game really, really early. And they love it. Like it's, they can't get enough of, like, say, a pigeon, right? A clip wing pigeon. That's just something that they want to retrieve and go get. But I do caution using any kind of live game until that dog, particularly a Labrador, is mature enough to handle it. So we do dummies for a long period of time, like almost probably good 9 months of their first 9 months of life, and then we move over to you would call it cold game, right? So just a dead bird that's been frozen or thawed or whatever, and then I do some hold conditioning with them, where you're teaching them how to hold that in their mouth. So we start with a dummy or bumper, try different textures in there, canvas, plastic, all different things, and then go to that bird so they can get that feel. Because what happens is, if they like it, so generally they like it so much, you can get a hard mouth dog that wants to kind of tear and chomp. So I teach it to them in a very structured manner. And then when we go out and do it for real, it's no big deal. Like they just pick it up and bring it back, and it's no difference than a dummy. And I don't believe these dogs, the dogs, and you guys are really lucky with your quality of dogs. And that would go from Springers to Cockers to Labs, all of that stuff. Or they're so well bred over there that you just really don't have to worry about them having that natural game finding ability. Like if you go to the reputable breeders over there, the dogs are phenomenal. And it's just bred into them, and they love birds. Like they just can't get enough of birds.
It's fascinating. Me and Brenny have obviously we talked about Pat there with the Springers and so on. We've been to a couple of working trials and so on, and like that, you're looking at, and the guys that were handling the dogs are saying, "Oh, it's not my best dog," or "It's not." And me and Brenny probably would give our right arm to have one. Their worst dog, So, we are lucky. We probably don't appreciate it, I suppose, as much as we probably should. That's no more than yourself with the heat. We're over here begging for a little bit of heat, and you're enjoying the rays over there. So, say la vie.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, you got some great spaniel guys over there too.
Yeah.
I'm not as plugged in, but my friend over there, Matty Lambden, he knows quite a few of those guys, and does a lot of training, with them. So having, they'll have the spaniels and the springers and stuff, flushing birds and shoot, and then, having the labs go pick them up. Like it's just that's all part of their preparation for the field trials.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah. I kind of think it's one of those things. Me and Anthony definitely fall into this group. It's an Irish expression, or you might have heard before. We're when it comes to hunting, we're like the jack of all trades, but the master of none.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, we compete. We have dogs. We go after deer, foxes. We do our pigeon, our game shooting, the whole job, blah. But I think, especially when it comes to dogs, there's lads that are just, this is what they do. They are the masters of what to do, and the hunting is secondary to that. It's all about the dogs.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
it is great to see, and I think that's the big difference, because we do bits of loads of different types of hunting stuff. We don't probably spend the time on the dog, but it's hard to get the balance right. But I'm sure
we get the off spin of it, don't we, Brenny? Because we get the what we say, the worst dogs out of all them. They come to the likes of myself and Brenny, and so we pick up and they're decent for what we want. And then obviously it's a very good the likes of yourself and your colleague, and just give us a shout out. Your colleague in Mullingar, Dave again.
Yeah, Matty Lambden, and
Matty
it's
Lambden.
Tamrose Labradors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's it. Them guys keep the breeds, be it labs or springers, or they keep the real good genetics, the bloodlines going, and that keeps the stocks overall good for everyone, for whatever level you're competing at, isn't that it?
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean it's he's had a lot of success, in the field trial world over there, and he's had some unbelievable dogs. Particularly his dog Arthur, Tamrose Aragon, probably one of the best dogs ever to come out of Ireland. And he took, he's placed in the Irish Championship many times. He took third in the English Championship, which is, a pretty the top of the game basically. And that dog has prodigy all over the world now. I mean, it's I don't know how many countries, but I'm sure it's over a dozen by now. Were his prodigy, and I have a lot of his lines in my dogs. He's probably one of the best dogs I've ever seen. Just kind of all around temperament, game finding, looks. I mean, you just put it all together. It's one of those dogs that
has it all.
Once in a lifetime, and you may never be able to replace that dog. You're always kind of comparing to a dog like that, and that's tough.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done to Matty, and look, he's only probably around the corner from us in US terms. He's only down the road, and we'll have to definitely touch base with him one of the days and get down and see his setup and have a chat with him.
Yeah, no, he's got a nice little setup there, a little course to do the dogs, and then has a shoot and the whole thing. So yeah, you guys definitely should hook up, and maybe when I come over there in September, we can all get together.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
2 nice pints in the Gravel Arms, and we'll go.
Yeah, there we go. and the
you get in there first with the pints. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Are you just on the hunting then, Dave? Have you any particular? I know the dog training must take up a huge portion of your time, because it's pretty intense, I would imagine. Do you have any other time for hunting? So, what's your go-to?
Yeah, so unlike I think some dog trainers, like the competition is the thing they're really doing. I do competition just kind of to keep sharp and a little competition, and it's opened a lot of doors for me because I've met a lot of people, but I don't take it as seriously as I do the hunting. Like hunting is the thing that the reason I have these dogs. Like if I couldn't hunt them, I probably wouldn't have them. So, and we're blessed here in the U.S. to have wild birds, and that isn't the case in, a lot of the world where you can have access to birds. So here in Texas, we do a lot of dove hunting. So I think they're smaller, but they would be similar to your wood pigeon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which are cool. Which I think is just a super cool bird over there. I think
It's fantastic.
that's a neat bird.
Yeah.
There's
Fantastic shooting. Fantastic shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do a lot of that. We're fortunate to have several different species of doves here in Texas. The only problem, it is hot because it starts in like September and it's hot. So it's a little bit hard on the dogs. So you got to be careful with that. But I do quite a bit of that. I do a lot of duck hunting and waterfowl. So being Texas, we're the bottom of the flyway. So all those birds come out of Canada and the northern states and work their way down here. So our season opens up the 1st of November, goes to the end of January. And it's really weather dependent. The harder the winter, the better our hunting is because it pushes birds down here. So I have a place where we duck hunt. It's kind of south of Houston a little bit. It's it's rice fields is what it is. So it's rice production. So they're growing rice there, and that rice. If you have rice, you have ducks because you have water and you have food. So that's kind of the thing there. So we have a place that we do that. And then I'll do a couple trips to some other states. We can go up north a little bit, hunt like Arkansas, Oklahoma. You can do that a little bit earlier. Just once, the ducks, the migration just follows as the water freezes out and the food gets covered up, they just keep coming south. Yeah. So we'll go north a little bit in the earlier. I've been blessed. I've gone up to Saskatchewan, Canada, which is the top of the flyway. And you want to talk about just unbelievable shooting. Like it's just mental. I mean, it's
phenomenal.
Thousands, and it's the top of the funnel, right? So they're all concentrated. Then as they go south, they kind of spread out. So it's ridiculous, and it's a sight too. Just it's spectacular to see, flocks of thousands and thousands of snow geese and Canada geese and mallards and pintails, and so it's pretty spectacular. I really enjoy that. I love to pheasant hunt and the upland hunt. So there's really, for upland hunting, there's really 3 species. You got the pheasant, you have the sharp-tailed grouse, and the Hungarian partridge. Mm-hmm. And those are all wild birds. And I go to South Dakota for that. And I'll spend some time up there hunting wild birds with some buddies up there. And that is just absolutely spectacular. To flush a true wild pheasant is pretty amazing.
And just when you were on about the grouse, is there a sage grouse? Is that I've heard of that before?
They're actually there is a sage grouse, but these are sharp-tailed grouse.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Hungarian partridge, which is there's a European part. Well, they were introduced from Europe years and years ago, but they're wild now.
Very good.
And then we have chuckers. Some of the Western states have chuckers, which is like the French partridge. Kind of looks like that, or red-legged partridge. Kind of looks similar to that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Turkeys. Any turkeys? Can you do turkey hunting and that?
I don't. There's a lot of turkeys. Yeah, they're all over the place. But I have never been a turkey hunter.
No. We've only just seen the clips on some of the meat eaters and stuff. Yeah, it looks interesting. It's an unusual one. Like it's unusual, I suppose, in the fact that you're bringing the bird to you, which is it's unusual, Yeah, but I would like to try that now. That does look like fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the calling of the turkey, like guys really get into that, and it's pretty cool how they do it, and the decoys, and they kind of strut in, and people really do it.
I seen a clip earlier on, and I just couldn't stop laughing, and it was actually the Turkey Gobble World Championships.
Oh yeah.
I just said, ye Americans, man, ye compete for everything.
Oh yeah, they have the duck one, the goose one. I mean, they got it all. Like, world duck calling, elk. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
It's great. And then I scrolled down another couple of videos, and then I saw a combine harvester crash test or crash derbies, where these guys in old combines do like stock car racing in combines.
Oh no.
Another American one. I was like, so some crack.
Yeah, if somebody can figure out a way to make money and have fun, it'll exist.
I like that way of thinking, man. I like that way.
Just on that, I suppose, big game hunting. Do you rifle hunt, or is that something that you?
Yeah, no, I do. I do rifle hunt and I do bow hunt. I love to bow hunt. My shoulder hasn't been too great the last several years, so it's been a little harder. But I do rifle hunt, and I've do a lot of deer hunting. We have Texas is like deer central. We have,
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I can look out my window and almost at any moment and see a deer. I mean, they're just everywhere. And they're the North American whitetails is what they are. We also do have axis deer, which is a really cool deer. Was introduced here probably back in the 40s. And as far as I know, it's really the only wild place in the U.S. is this central part of Texas that they were introduced. And now they're just completely wild. And they're starting to rut now. So they, like I heard them this morning. It was probably about 5 a.m. I heard one kind of roaring out behind the house. And they roar like a stag.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I seen Stephen L actually on one of his hunting axis deer, I think back a couple of years back. Yeah, you see, you have it all, man. You're the envy of us over here, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff. There's a nilgai, which if you watch Meat Eater, they do a South Texas nilgai hunt. That's another really cool animal, big animal, like 800 pounds, 900 pounds. So big animal, and that's another introduced species that is now wild in Texas. So.
And yeah, I've seen that episode, and they seem to be in abundance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no shortage of them. That's for sure.
And say predators. Then is there many like coyotes? Obviously, you have coyotes.
Yeah, coyote, fox. I've never really gotten into that. I know you guys are just crazy about the fox lamping and stuff over there.
Yeah. You have to remember, we get like 8 months of winter here, so we need stuff to be doing at nighttime.
Yeah,
it gets dark for like 6 months. It gets dark at 4 o'clock in the day here, so we need stuff to be doing. So that's why.
Yeah, I got to experience a little bit of that when I was over there with the calling and just the little mouth call with your fingers,
Yeah,
and calling in like a rabbit,
But
we have coyote hunting, some people do it really, that predator stuff. It's, there's no shortage of that kind of stuff either.
No,
the bow hunting is
yeah.
Sorry, Benny.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to say there's no you don't get like bear down there or wolf rat down that far south, do you?
No, you got to go north for that. So I have some property up in Minnesota, up by Canada, and there's bear up there. And I've shot several bear with the bow, and there's a lot of deer up there and stuff, and there's elk out west and moose. I mean, it's just like, so we have
just kind of you just brushed that off there, Dave. Just I just shot a couple of bear there with a bow, just as if myself and Brendan were going down to order a pint there.
Yeah,
exactly. We're a little bit there.
Now, sandwich.
Yeah, we're talking. You're getting in pretty close to a pretty substantial something that myself and Brendan, I know we've both talked about this personally. It's the top of the pinnacle. At some stage we'll hopefully get to it. But talk us through that, man. What's the most memorable one of them? There's a couple there. So
yeah, I think probably the first one I shot was actually up in Canada. I had a friend that has a outfitting, fishing and hunting outfit up in Ontario. And I remember right when he bought the place, he was more of a fisherman and wasn't much of a hunter. And he's like, "Hey, can you I need to kind of get this bear hunting going. I really don't know what to do. And he's like, well, you come up here. And so they do. And what they bears, you have to bait them in. So they basically start with like dead fish and all kinds of nasty stuff, the scent to kind of get them in an area. And then they'll kind of seed the area with really anything sweet, grains, whatever. And I wasn't up there 15 minutes sitting up in that tree stand and this bear walked in and then I let the arrow go and boom, and it was 10 minutes later, walked down there and was laying 15 yards from there. So just,
Wow.
they're not that hard to kill if you shoot them right, like anything with a bow. But it was a cool experience. Like a bear comes in completely silent. They don't make any noise. Like the way they walk on the leaves, and it's just really, really quiet. It was a really cool experience. And since then I've done 2 more, since then, with the bow, and, all were really cool. I mean, just being out in the Canadian wilderness, is an experience in itself. And
It's epic.
yeah, really,
There's
really
nothing
cool.
like that. I think to get my heart is starting to elevate a little bit just listening to that. I think there's as hunting animals go, it's one of the ones that'll get the heart racing probably the most. It's you don't want to be getting on the wrong side. Did you have you eaten bear? Is that
Yeah, no, it's
yeah?
good. The meat's good. It's kind of got a little bit of a sweeter taste. I don't really know what to compare it to. It's a darker red meat, but it has a little bit of a sweeter taste, I think, because they eat so many berries and things like that.
Yes, yeah,
But it was good. We did like,
very good.
the bear steaks, pot roast, all that kind of stuff.
The fat is it? Yeah, the fat when it's rendered down is a big thing over there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they have just a huge layer of fat in there. So yeah, it's all like just thick. And I think guys use it for, it's like a good waterproofer thing for like boots and stuff like that. I know guys will save some of that stuff, but yeah, they're a cool animal. They really are.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
You see, you're lucky over there. I see, obviously you're familiar with some of the hunting traits, I suppose, in Ireland, the laws and stuff. But I suppose for some of your listeners, we bow hunting is just not allowed in Ireland. We can't. It's not.
Yeah, I had that conversation with one of my friends over there, and I was kind of surprised because it's, the guns are such a problem that like a bow is really nobody's doing a drive-by, bow shooting, right? So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
why,
Absolutely.
why,
Yeah.
why would they care about the bow unless that's, I guess, the mentality that there's maybe a higher percentage of wounding an animal? But I don't know. That doesn't make much sense to me.
No, I think it's probably that, and I think it's that at least the guns are somewhat regulated, I suppose. Now, obviously, compound bows at the minute, I can go out and buy the best compound bow in the world here in Ireland, but I can't use it for hunting, and you can't get the arrows or the arrowheads that you guys do use for hunting. They're not available anywhere. So there is lads that you can go in and you can get proper hunting compound bows here, but they're strictly for targets, and any the arrows you get again are just the ones you'd see lads using for targets for competitions and stuff. So I think it's probably at least with the rifles they can license them, so they know who has them, and then they know on the back of that who's hunting. But if anybody could just walk in and buy a compound bow, they'd be kind of going, just that these guys could be out after animals with this. I don't agree with it. I think it's ridiculous. I think if it makes more sense to allow us to hunt with them, because at the end of the day they want to lower the number of firearms in the country. So that'll be one way of doing it.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff, and we could talk about that for hours. But the gun laws, I mean, they're so different. I mean, none of that would ever fly here. I mean, especially here in Texas. I mean, I can go buy a handgun without just buy a handgun, just the background clearance. Go buy the handgun. You can keep a gun in your house, in your car, loaded. You can carry one without, any special permit, anything like that. It's just all part of the constitutional rights. And not all states are like that, but Texas is. Like I can carry a handgun loaded on, concealed on my belt, no problem.
So you could walk down the main street with a handgun just holstered onto your belt.
Yep. Yep.
That's American, man. America. Fuck yeah.
The part is like, that's never the problem. Like, so I mean, I laugh because I said the neighborhood I live in, I would guess there's probably more guns in my neighborhood than your entire island of Ireland. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. I love it.
And nothing ever happens. Like, nobody gets shot. Nobody, like, that's not the problem. Like, the problems are these inner cities with, drugs and all that. It's not the guy that wants to keep a handgun in his house or go hunting. Like that's not the problem,
Yeah.
Similar to over here, I think the gun owners are probably the most capable and the most law abiding, whereas the people that don't have the license and you don't know actually have the gun are the issue, which is the small pockets of society in all corners of the world. So it's a problem. I think that it makes great headlines, but we definitely won't be solving it, and I think they won't be listening to us anyway. They want to try and make up the rule book themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's kind of it's gone too far the other way. I don't know that you can get it back.
Mm-hmm.
No,
definitely not. Going back, I suppose to some of the retriever and stuff. You've obviously turned this into you have a company or you have a business going. You're supposed to making a living out of it. Who would people would people come from far and wide to get dogs off you? Do you know what I mean? Would it stay mainly in the state of Texas, or does it reach far beyond that?
Yeah, no. Actually, so I've sold dogs all over the U.S. and Canada. I even had a guy that wanted one in England, but I not figure out a good cost-effective way to get one over there. So that was, but no, I mean, a lot of them are here in Texas, but no, they'll fly in, and for a puppy, and they take them as a carry-on the way back. So we do that. We also do some importing of dogs too. And so people want trained dogs, and I get almost all of those from Ireland, and they get shipped over to clients over here. So if they want something kind of, ready to go that they can go hunt tomorrow with, we provide that service too.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Crass question, Dave. What sort of ballpark for a decent Labrador in the US? What are you looking at?
So like the pups, right around 3,000 for a pup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's and then up to, if you're is there a cap on that? What's what would be the golden standard over there? What's the highest one that's been sold? I'm not talking about you personally, but in general.
Oh, you mean like for a fully trained dog?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, I've heard of dogs going for over $100,000,
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. There's a lot of money in dogs with, that higher end, and then, and the protection stuff too, like some of those Malwas and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's big money in that.
Okay.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there much is it like regulations for say for guys breeding dogs and training dogs? Is it strict over there? Is it governed much? Is it?
No, not really. There's some like kennel licensing and stuff that you might have to have if you're over a certain size. But it's not it's not really that regulated. And honestly, that's one of the things I'd like to see it kind of tightened up a little bit more, because there's a lot of junk out there too. And then, but those dogs don't go for very much. I mean, if you wanted to buy a lab for $300, you could, but you don't really know what you're getting. But a lot of the British stuff's going to be close to 3,000 for puppies here. That's just kind of the going rate for them. Because there's so much that goes into it, especially when you're importing, because it's not cheap to import a dog.
I can imagine.
And gun shyness, Dave. Is that something is it something you've encountered? Can it be trained out of a dog, or is that an urban myth, or is gun shyness in general just a symptom of poor dog handling? What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, so I really, fortunately, have not really had much of it. You got to be careful when they're a young pup, just introducing them. And what I do with all the pups is, as they're eating, just shoot like a starter pistol off, and then kind of start graduating up to, maybe shoot a 20 gauge and then a 12 gauge, and then just kind of move a little closer to them. And they're just so preoccupied with that food, that
Very good.
it just kind of, yeah. And then I really have not had really any problems with that. It's just been something, if you just kind of slowly introduce that. So I don't think the gun shyness is necessarily bred, is a genetic trait. I think it's people when they poorly introduce the gun. Like you can't go out, first time on a hunt and shoot over a dog's head. They'll freak out, right? Then they're gonna know what the heck that is. And unfortunately, some people do that. Like, oh, it's a hunting dog, it'll be fine. Well, now you still gotta slowly introduce that, and just becomes part of their routine, and they could care less. And then they start getting excited when they start seeing that gun, because they know stuff falls from the sky when they see the gun, right? So,
Yeah.
It depends who's on the gun.
yeah, there's that, right?
Speak for yourself, Mr. Gore. I don't know. I think that's pointed at me, Dave. Don't mind
My
him.
point at you was taking a shot.
No, definitely not. Yeah. That's definitely. So that's definitely some food for thought there. It's a good one about when he's feeding them, because we've heard before from lads making plenty nice about them, but it's a good one. It is a good idea when they're feeding them, because they're just so engrossed in the food or not. So
especially a Labrador. I mean, it's people are like, "Are dogs ever a picky?" I'm like, no, the labs will eat just about anything.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
He's in his happy place when his head is in that bowl. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Do you have to have licenses for your dogs over there?
Not. If you live like within a city limits, I think you're supposed to technically license a dog. But I'm not in a city limit, so I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Texas rules apply.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Ireland is one of the rare places. We even have to have a license for our TV.
I heard that, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, how do they know if you have a license for your TV?
Fucking nanny state, man. It literally is. And I had literally moved into my house, and the TV license inspector, and I live down, as Brenny will tell you, down at the time there was grass growing up the middle of the road, so it would have been pretty difficult to find, but the fucker still found me, I had no intention of paying that thing for at least the first. Well, yeah, you know yourself. We'll keep that.
Yeah, that's a whole separate.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that in Texas, where the guy knocks on your door and says, "Let me see your TV," and be like, "No, you should get off my property right now."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. See, it'd be different if you answered the door and you had a 9mm handgun clipped to you. That would be probably different, I just think of a time, just when we're talking about TV license and dog license. Years ago, when we were kids, we would have spent a lot of time in a little village in the south east of Ireland called Passage East in County Waterford. A lot of the Irish listeners will have heard of it. But it's just your stereotypical small little rural village where everybody knew everyone and had a little post office and a couple of pubs, and all the elderly people would meet and talk and stuff. But around the time they introduced the whole dog licensing thing, this inspector from the city headed out to this village, and at the time you could just go into the post office and buy the license for your dog. It might have been just say £2 or £3, whatever it was at the time, But the inspector landed in this little quaint little village and knocked on the first door, right? And said who he was and what he was looking for. And within 10 minutes, and there was no mobile phones at the time, within 10 minutes, you would want to see the queue at the post office. People were panicking, man. There was a line of people going into the post office to get the license for the dog because they knew the inspector was in town. And I always remember, I just said, Jesus, that's so stereotypical Ireland. A fucking license for a dog. But
very good.
It takes a lot of us.
You said, Dave, there, just in terms of the lab, going back to your the head in the bowl, that what's the what diet would you recommend for the lab? What's the do's and don'ts, or is there a go-to for you?
Yeah, so I would say so. I the best diet you could have for a lab would be a raw diet, right? So raw meat, beef, lamb, game, venison, tripe. Tripe is excellent, and if you can get, you have more of access to like whole belly, tripe over there. I mean, it's
Yeah.
if you've ever had it, I mean, it's completely, I mean, it's disgusting. Like it's the nastiest smelling, gross, but the dogs absolutely love it and do really, really well on that. And then you can supplement with kibble. Some of that stuff, like Maddie feeds that over there, and does really well. His dogs do amazing on it. I have could not find that here. So, but you could get it like frozen and ground up type stuff. So I'll supplement that, and then I just use a really good high quality kibble. And it's like a beef and salmon, herring mixture, and then has like like sweet potato and beets and things like that, kind of a mixture. So
Very good.
that's kind of the I use a product called Team Dog. That's one of our sponsors, and the dogs do really, really well on that. It's a very high quality. It's like a 30% protein food.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
Good
Brilliant
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah. As a fellow said, you nearly eat that yourself.
Yeah, I know, right? Be better than that tripe. Oof.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's not.
That is some foul stuff, boy. Oof.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I suppose we were after asking you, hitting you with a load of questions. Have you any questions for your American listeners?
Yeah, I was gonna a couple things like so. As far as your guys' hunting and the stuff that I've experienced over there, the snipe, and the woodcock, and then the wood pigeons, are super interesting to me. So do you guys do any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we pretty much do all of that stuff. Yeah. Our seasons have kind of changed a little bit. I won't say they've changed. They've probably been always kind of similar. I know they've taken a couple of species off the list from last year.
Yeah. What did they take off?
They did, Anthony. Now, yeah. What did they take off? And he took
I've
off.
got a
Look,
couple of-
what's that?
Sorry, Bernie. Yeah, they got four species of duck off
Yeah.
the sort of the golden eye.
Mhm.
I think they took pintail. There's another two that is going to escape me now, but they took four different types off our duck list. Even though there's strong evidence from the hunting community that by doing so is actually counterproductive, and some of the species that they actually took off actually aren't um, on their. They have a kind of a red list traffic light system over here, which is very, very primitive in its. And it's under judicial review at the minute. So there's a case by the NARGC, which is one of our bodies over here, that's been taken to the courts to go after that and try and challenge that, because as you may or may not know, Dave, over here we've huge conservation things. We've duck nesting tubes. We've grey partridge projects. We've huge projects over here, curlews and so on and so forth, that we as hunting community we're hugely involved in. So yeah, that's a big bone of contention. And then that coupled with they've banned lead shot here, so we can only shoot steel now in around wetlands. So again, it's another bone of contention. Is that something you have in America?
Yeah, we've had that. We've had the steel shot, or the bismuths. You could
Yeah.
lead. We've had that for years. And I mean, I don't know that that's a bad thing, because it's there was quite a bit of evidence that the ducks were picking that stuff up when they
Yeah.
feed. Yeah. There are some weird kind of things, like you could you could hunt like a body of water, and if a pheasant got up, you could shoot it with lead, and then if a duck, you had to shoot it with, with steel. Like there's some dumb things like that.
Yeah.
But I think overall that's not bad. But as far as like eliminating ducks, I'd like to see what evidence, like, because I'm not aware, and maybe you can tell me, is there any kind of banding program that tracks ducks or like duck counts? Because here in the U.S., the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and then like Delta Waterfowl and Ducks Unlimited have some pretty extensive research on duck counts, and to know, they ban them, they trap them with nets, they do aerial surveys, so they know, they have a good estimate of what the duck population looks like. But what I understand about Ireland is most of your ducks they're coming from like Scandinavia and
Correct.
Russia, right?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So we have, like, this is where the lines are a little bit different, say, than you guys over in the States, where I suppose the hunting is considered part of the economy, and it's an integral part of a lot of the money from hunting goes straight back into conservation, wildlife, and so on. Whereas here, it's not. We're considered kind of like we've described it as the unwanted cousin at the wedding. So we kind of, they know we're there, but they don't really want to talk about it. So we have projects in relation with some of the Scandinavian countries, with Finland and Norway and so on and so forth. So the NARGC are involved in some of them, coupled with FACE. I don't know where you've heard of FACE, their European body. So them projects are ongoing, but separate to that, we have a body over here which is Birdwatch Ireland, and they tend to be anti-hunting. So they're seen as the kind of, what would you say, the scientific body that's given
they're right to buy, obviously.
Which is kind of anti-conducive then when you're talking to the men and women on the ground. Like we do what's called a bag count here. So during the season we have an app, and if we shoot a couple of snipe, you log onto your app, and we record where we've shot it and how many and so on and so forth, and that data feeds the hunting database. But it's separate, which just it's completely lunacy. It's actually separate to Birdwatch Ireland, who don't actually shoot at all. So there's kind of like two things going on. There's the boots on the ground who are out seeing it in real life and can provide real life data, but it's kind of slightly dismissed. And you've a body who is, I would say, would be leaning very closely, or very, very much towards the anti-hunting side of the Bible, and their word is considered as sacrosanct. So, that thing is rumbling on, but it's coming to a little bit of a head, as I say, with the duck hunting judicial review, because that's the first time and it's costing huge money. It's in Irish terms anyway, to challenge it. So we see it as probably the first step in a few to trying to turn that tide slightly,
Yeah. No, I know we have some of that over here, but we have such a strong hunting culture that and it's such a moneymaker. I mean, like Texas alone. I mean, Texas is, over 30 million people. So percentage wise, it's not that many in hunt, but it's probably 1.5 million licenses are sold for deer hunting, which is a substantial number, and a lot of money, plus everything that goes along with the license and the guns and the ammo and the land and the this and that. So
tourism,
it's a big economic driver. So
well, you mentioned
the issue you have here in Ireland, I suppose, we've said it, like, is in relation, obviously population comes into it and stuff, but there is no, like, we've got the NARGC, which are all privately funded. We all pay a membership into it, and they've got to try and use the funds. There's no government funding for anything hunting or field sports related. It's like, as Annie says, the cousin at the wedding that nobody wants to talk about. So they just kind of bring in, and in fairness to the NARGC, if it wasn't for them, they could bring in anything they wanted in the morning. But because the population that hunt is fairly small in comparison to like what you were saying, even in Texas or probably anywhere in the world, it's he who shouts loudest is heard. Over here, if there's 10,000 people giving out about it, chances are there's 500,000 people giving out fuck about our health system, or all the other stuff that's going on in the country. So it's not even
We
entered.
only have 220,000 licenses, Brady, isn't that it, in the country? So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So that's the issue. That's what we're up against as well. But I suppose in ways it's gas. Like obviously the hunting, I haven't been to the States, but my parents go over fairly regular and stuff, and I have a lot of family over there too. But like hunting is such a huge part of it. And it's gas. The likes of things that you wouldn't necessarily think would influence growth in hunting here is the likes of Joe Rogan, who's a name you'll know. It's gas the amount of people that listen to Joe Rogan, not for the hunting.
Really?
It's unbelievable, but have listened to his podcast, and then he obviously talks so much about hunting and bow hunting and the benefits and stuff, and it's gas the amount of people that have kind of listened to it and taken it on board and went, geez, I never even thought about it like that in that sense. Because there's been a history here where people thought, well, I suppose if you were to boil it back to rebellion times and stuff like that, the only people that used to pheasant hunt were the big landlords and the big estate hunters, so the people
Right.
that had money. So that was that a lot of people had that opinion, and that stayed there for a long time. And there's still people out there think now that people that go out hunting pheasants are just these rich fucking arseholes that spend, pay a couple of €100 a day and go out and shoot pheasants that run along the ground in front of them. And there's, people are still in that frame of mind, whereas the reality of it is, to be honest with you, it's the likes of the gun clubs and stuff that do the biggest amount of conservation work in the country, but they'll never ever get the gratitude for it.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably quite a bit different here. Where hunting here was just more cultural. It wasn't a wealthy thing, although now, particularly big game hunting has gotten ridiculous. To go shoot any kind of big game with an outfitter, and states have realized that you have to hire a guide and you have to pay them and you have to pay for the land access, and but culturally it was like deer hunting particularly, where like families had deer camps and people went to deer camp, and it was a tradition, and they ate the same things and they drank the same things and went to the same places, and it was and then they had the meat, and it was very cultural. And like now it's some of that still exists too, and like so the people that's be living in New York City or something, and from a mallard.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one of the things that Brenny just pointed on there, Dave, I don't know whether your listeners would know this or not, but it harks back to obviously we're probably a young enough state in its foundation, and all game hunting was off the table back in the day. So there was a huge lull in when we got our independence here. There was a little bit of a lull in terms of the preservation of game and so on and so forth. And then that transpired then in a huge void, 20, 30 years in probably the cultural thing that you're talking about.
I think we may have lost Dave, have we?
Yeah, it broke up a little bit there. I couldn't hear the last part of what you said.
Sorry, Dave. Yeah, I was just saying in terms of, as Brenny rightly said, there was a probably a cultural gap. When we were an occupied country at one time, and obviously all game was preserved for landlords from a different country. So, and then there was a gap then in that when we received our independence, the game wasn't managed and it wasn't looked after, and it was there was a lull. So there's probably a cultural gap, and that's what created that kind of cultural thing that's missing. That's probably more prevalent in the States. You mentioned, you touched on snipe hunting. Is that something you've done while you're over here, Dave?
I think we may have, I think we may have maximized our internet connections. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if we've got Dave back. It wouldn't be an Irish hunting podcast if we didn't have some technical
Well, I
difficulties.
tell you now. Did you ever snipe hunt, Brenny?
I did once or twice, lad.
Did you ever hunt a snipe? You did.
They're little fuckers, man. They won't sit still.
I hunted plenty. I never shot many.
Exactly. Hunting for years, lad. It's still a chewing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just check back in. Have we got Dave? Can you hear us there now, Dave? No.
What we'll do is, if you want, Brenny, you're back.
Have you got?
It was in and out there for a while.
Sorry, Dave. We have you back. Are you there, Dave?
It's not just rural
Yep.
that doesn't have the old internet.
Yep, I'm
I'm
here.
You're here. We got you. Well, I think there, David. I think we have you back. So yeah. So I was just saying, true Irish hunting podcast style. We've intermittent internet connections.
And I wouldn't mind it. We normally blame our neck of the woods, but I think we're good this side.
I think we're good this time. I think it's Texas. Everything is big in Texas except the internet. I'm not sure if Dave's going to hear us, but I'll tell you what we will do. I think we'll wrap it up there. I'm not sure if Dave can hear this, but Dave, I'm not sure if you can hear this if you're back on, but I think we're going to wrap it up there. I think we've maximized our internet connection for probably as long as we get away with it.
And if you can hear us, Dave, hop that modem straight out the window.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if we have you there, Dave. Dave Bavero, thanks very much for coming on to the Irish Hunting Podcast. I do appreciate it, and make sure when you get over here in September to give us a shout, and we'll get you out for a hunt. And hopefully
some snipe hunting, some snipe shooting.
We'll get you out for a shot anyway, and see how we go.
Gentlemen, thanks, Dave.
Dave, take it easy.